A long time ago, in a small coastal village, there lived a musician named Elias, who was born mute. Despite his inability to speak, Elias had a gift for music that far surpassed that of anyone in the village. His compositions were beautiful and haunting, filled with emotion and depth that seemed to come from another world. Elias spent his days wandering along the rocky cliffs, listening to the sound of the waves crashing against the shore. He often felt as though the sea was speaking to him, whispering melodies and harmonies that he could hear in his mind's ear. One day, while sitting on a prominent cliff overlooking the ocean, Elias heard a particularly enchanting melody. It was as if the sea itself was singing to him, weaving a symphony that stirred his soul in a way he had never felt before. He rushed home and hurriedly scribbled down the notes and rhythms that swirled in his mind, creating a new composition that seemed to flow effortlessly from his fingers. Word quickly spread throughout the village of Elias's newest piece, and soon people from far and wide came to hear him play. His symphonies captivated the hearts of all who listened, leaving them in tears or lost in deep contemplation. Elias became a local legend, revered for his musical talent and the magical connection he seemed to have with the sea. But as Elias's fame grew, so did his obsession with the music of the ocean. He spent more and more time on the cliff, listening intently to the haunting melodies that seemed to beckon him closer to the water. He began to neglect his friends and family, consumed by the need to capture the elusive sounds that filled his mind. One night, as the moon hung low in the sky and the waves crashed against the shore with a fierce intensity, Elias heard a voice calling to him from the depths of the sea. It was a voice that seemed to resonate with his very soul, drawing him closer and closer to the edge of the cliff. As he stood on the precipice, with the sea churning angrily below, Elias faced a choice that would determine the course of his life. On one hand, he could stay and continue to create beautiful music that touched the hearts of all who listened. On the other, he could heed the call of the sea and dive into its depths, surrendering himself to the unknown depths that awaited him. In that moment of decision, Elias closed his eyes and listened to the music that surrounded him. It was a symphony of life and death, of beauty and sorrow, of love and loss. And in that symphony, he found the answer to his dilemma. With a resolute determination, Elias turned away from the edge of the cliff and walked back towards the village. He knew that his place was not with the sea, but with the people who had supported him and loved him all along. And as he played one final haunting melody for his friends and family, he knew that he had made the right choice. Years passed, and Elias continued to compose music that touched the hearts of all who listened. His symphonies became known throughout the land, with people traveling from far and wide to hear the mute musician who had once heard the music of the sea. And though the call of the ocean still whispered to him in the dead of night, Elias knew that his true home was with his music and the people who embraced it. And so, the legend of Elias, the mute musician who heard the music of the sea, lived on in the hearts and minds of all who had been touched by his artistry. For he had chosen love and life over the siren song of the depths, and in doing so had created a legacy that would endure for generations to come.